PEI together. Oh, let me just start recording now. Good morning. I'm John Davison, President of the Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the first full week of Phase 1 Renew PEI Together plan. We hope you had a great weekend and continue to follow the health guidelines set out by Dr. Heather Morrison and her team. I'm pleased to be hosting this webinar to discuss the current updates to the provincial government programs and to the outlook for the 2020 tourism season here on PEI. Thank you to the Honourable Matthew MacKay, Minister of Economic Growth, Tourism and Culture, and MLA for the Malpeque District, for joining us this morning. We know that you're really busy and we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today, Matt. This is the plan for today's webinar. Minister MacKay will provide a brief outline to the programs and supports in place as they are now, and an outlook for the 2020 tourism season for the island. Following that, we'll have a Q&A session from the questions that were submitted to the Chamber in writing. If we do not have time to answer all the questions, we'll get to the responses in writing and share them with everyone once we receive the replies. Remember, for the most up-to-date information, check out the Provincial Government COVID-19 website at www.princeedwardisland.ca/en/topic/COVID-19. Minister MacKay, welcome this morning.
Thanks for having me, John.
It's a pleasure to have you here with us. We all enjoyed a beautiful, sunny, sunshiny Sunday yesterday. What we would like to think would be the kickoff to a good tourism season. This being what it is, I guess we'll kind of take this and learn as we go. I'll hand it over to you, Matt, if you want to give us a rundown on what the departments are doing and what we can look forward to.
Sure. Thanks, John, and good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a nice weekend. On my drive down here this morning, I hear we have some snow coming to the next couple of days, so let's hope there's better weather ahead. So this all started here with us March 13th. The last 7 weeks here in government in my department has been a whirlwind. In a sense, nobody's seen this coming as fast as it did, and when it hit, it hit hard. So the last 7 weeks has been a challenge for all islanders as well as all departmental staff here. So what we done in the short term, we said what do we need to do ASAP to get programs out where some of the voids were at and so forth. So within about 48 hours, we opened up a phone line to hear from business. As well as stakeholders of what their challenges are, what they were going to be, and what they were facing. And we developed about 11 programs through this department over the course of a 7-week period, which was truly remarkable. If you've seen what the staff done behind the scenes here, especially in this department, was unreal. We had staff here rolling out programs 7 days a week that were here till 8, 9 at night to try and get money into the pockets of islanders as quick as they could. So the big obstacle right off the bat was a small business. So the small businesses that basically had to close their doors overnight and had to still make payroll, had to still pay rent and so forth. So we knew the federal government was going to come out with programs. The federal government has been great to deal with, and we talk to them on a daily basis. But we wanted to make sure that islanders had money in their pockets during that transition. So starting, I think it was about from March 13th to the end of March, we come out with a self-employed program that was the $1,000 one time for the 2 weeks until some CERB payments come in from the federal government. We also rolled out a program to try and keep people working. Any employee that had a loss of 8 hours a week, they were topped up by $250 a week to keep them working. We come out with a self-adaption program for businesses that just needed guidance and advice. And what was next, we put a $2,500 grant that businesses could apply to adapt to what was taking place with everything that was going on over the last few weeks. Another one we come out with was the commercial rent deferral program. So that was one that we heard right off the bat. Businesses were worried how they were going to pay the rent. And basically what we done, we put a Band-Aid fix on it because we knew the feds were going to come with something. We just didn't know what it looked like. So we rolled that program out. We had another one through the broadband fund and internet. That was one that allowed business, rural business, any business operating from home as well as employees to upgrade to MiFi units and internet boosters. And out of the broadband fund, we would pay 50% of that. which we've had fairly good uptake on that one. It hasn't fixed all the problems, but it certainly helped out as well.
Mhm.
Any employees that were laid off, we done the Sobeys gift card program. That was a $100 partnership with Sobeys. It was a 75-25 split, so there was just under 10,000 Islanders got $100 gift cards, as well as the Community Champions program. That was another one rolled out through this department. We got about 68 different organizations through all 27 districts that distribute gift cards as well. That was a 75-25 partnership, and that was a way for anybody. We wanted to make sure no Islander or no family was left with no food. We wanted to make sure that there was always food on the table. So them programs worked out real well. Also the emergency 750. So that was for people that were laid off. So there was people that lost their jobs that never in a million years thought they were going to be out of work. So what it was a one-time top-up of $750. That went out to approximately about 8,000 Islanders. So that while they were waiting for their EI, they had a little bit of money in their account. Then on the tourism side, so tourism we felt was going to be hit the hardest out of our three big industries, fishing, agriculture, and tourism. Tourism is the one that I really felt was going to be hit the hardest. So we developed a couple separate programs for that one. We put a $50 million loan fund, and this come from industry as well. So we put a $50 million loan fund out that there was no interest or no payments for 18 months. So that way, if a tourism operation decided they weren't going to open their doors this year, or if they were, and they just need a little extra help, that's what this money was for. So the reason for the 18 months is we felt it was going to probably take about 18 months before we seen our tourism season start to rebound back. And as well, there's a lot of tourism operators that have loans with private lenders, banks, so forth. And we developed a $10 million loan program there as well that would allow businesses or tourism operations to go to their bank and we would pay the interest. So hoping the banks would work with them on deferral as long as they were getting the interest, and that's going to be run through us as well. And as well as all the licenses and fees for the signage, marketing, rental fees, we're sending all them back. So I believe some of the checks went out last week, more going this week, and there's about 2.2 million going back out. So with all the programs we've rolled out so far in the 7 weeks, it's been about $103 million has come out of us here. So a lot of work's gone behind the scenes. There's still a couple gaps that we're working on with the federal government that I'm sure we'll talk about further here, but we're taking it one day at a time. We appreciate the patience of the business community and all Islanders, and thanks for everything you're doing behind the scenes as well.
Thanks, Matt. It's a lot of things to happen in a short time, especially, we always sort of joke and say the wheels of government don't turn fast, but they sure turned very fast all of a sudden when there was a need.
Yeah, definitely. So that was I'll be honest, that was a challenge I was worried about, because we weren't built to roll money out like this. We never had to do it before. So it was a learn as we went, and like I say, to see what took place behind the scenes, I'd be the first to admit it was always a frustration not seeing how quick government moves. But this department, the crew behind the scenes here and my staff really took the task and got it out the door. So I'm quite happy with everything they've done here.
I'm quite pleased that everybody's worked that hard. Well, Matt, we'll jump right in then to the questions. These are questions that were submitted to our Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce inquiry that was put out. And number one, right off the top, there has been great discussion over what is allowed in each of the 4 phases of Renew PEI Together plan. Can you help clarify the procedure as to how the decisions were made for what can be open during each phase?
Sure. So that was all done through Dr. Morrison's shop, the public health office. So what they've done, they've done a science, a model basically, and a risk factor, and they went through each phase, and that's how it was rolled out. So I wasn't around the table when them discussions happened, but the presentation done to me, it was a model, and it was the science behind it that developed these 4 phases.
Okay. Number 2, I guess this is the one in all the tourism operators' minds. what do you think will the remaining 2020 tourism season will be actually like here on PEI?
It's a good question. I'd love to have the answer to it. It's probably the number one question I've been getting. It's still the unknown, but I think it's time now. Is to be realistic that our tourism season it's not going to look good. We've had another record-breaking year last year. 2 months ago, we were rolling out a marketing campaign that was on track to give us another record-breaking year. And to see what's happened in the last 2 months has been drastic to the industry. I'm hoping we're going to have somewhat of a tourism season late in the year. But I think it's now we have tourism operations that are questioned: do we even open or not? What's it look like if we do? Really, it's going to be a challenge, and I don't have the numbers, and I don't know what it's going to look like. But realistically, it's not going to be good, and we just got to try our best to get through it and try and throw as many supports as we can to help the operators out in this time, and hopefully get back to a better year next year.
Hope so, yeah. Well, what advice can you give to tourism operators on securing staff for the season? In this case, how much notice would be given when the restrictions will be lifted and the season's allowed to operate?
That's another good question. So through this whole process, the number one thing's been the health and safety of Islanders. And that's one of the reasons we've done so well as a province. So when we look at all the other provinces in the country and what they're dealing with, they're nowhere close even to getting back to a bit of a local economy, and that's the stage we're at. So it's still the unknown. As far as the staff goes, like a lot of it is going to come down to business decisions from these operators. Some are going to know if they can afford to be open. Some are going to realize they can't. We're trying to provide as much support as we can. We've increased our student subsidies as well. We've changed some of the programs around. The federal government is coming up with some programs as well. So what we're trying to do is when the time comes, is to be able to throw as much support for the jobs as we can, in one, to help the business, but to make sure that employees go back to work as well. So it's still the unknown. I really wish I could tell everybody a date when we're going to have a tourism season, and it's just it's not there. I just don't have the answer for it.
Yeah, I guess we'll just keep reading the horoscopes in the paper and hope for the best.
Yeah.
This question was sent in. As a licensed tourism accommodation, including cottage rentals, I understand that I can now open my doors to Islanders while adhering to all recommendations by the health minister, and that we have to submit a workplace health plan. What will be the guidelines as to what cleaning and sanitization products are used, and what information do I need to collect from customers to maintain a tracking source of contact, and will there be a set of guidelines in place?
Another good question. So that would be a question for Dr. Morrison as well. So what we've been doing, we've seen the business community send in proposals to public health office with their own recommendations and guidelines of what it looks like for them to open and how they could do it. So a lot of them questions, the best number would be to call is the 1-833 number. So that's 1-833-533-9333. And they'll be able to help you out. You send your recommendations in of how your business can operate. So I'll give you an example. We've had a retail business that says we can book by appointment. So they've developed criteria around that. And they send it into Dr. Morrison's shop as well. So a lot of the business community, I guess, need to be creative in a sense and know if they can do it or if they can't. The main thing is still the health and safety. Even though we're opening up our economy a bit here, we still got to follow some guidelines. But I find the public health office is more than reasonable. They're creative, and they want the business community to be creative too. So feel free to reach out to them, and they'll guide you through the process.
Yeah, and this isn't part of that one, but that $2,500 consultation grant, that seems to me to be a really good place for somebody to start to develop a plan.
Definitely, and on that note, we're developing another program which I'm hoping to have it rolled out either today or tomorrow. But it's going to be another grant side that's going to help businesses adapt. So that would be whether it's for plexiglass or cleaning or whatever needs to be done. to make sure that the health and safety are followed. So there's another grant program rolling out here in the next 24 to 48 hours on that
Oh, excellent. All right. Yeah, I guess that's section number 2 of that question. I kind of skipped over there. That businesses are asking to submit a brief plan describing how they'll protect employees and clients from exposure and to maintain an ongoing public health restrictions to health PEI. And will there be supports put in place to assist with the cost of adding these features and protective equipment such as plexiglass, debit machine plastic sleeves for all businesses, and in particular the seasonal businesses?
Yeah, and on that note, so I know there's a lot of businesses that have already incurred the cost of doing that. We are going to make this program retroactive, so that way anybody who's incurred the cost on this, there will be some support for them as well.
Excellent. Premier King released a statement that says, as business comes back on stream, there's certainly a fear out there that people are being paid not to work. It's going to be difficult for those businesses to attract people they would normally be able to attract. How do you see a plan to get people off the CERB and return to the workforce?
Well, the CERB program, it was designed, I think, more as quick as it could be as well, right? So I think the federal government had the best intentions in mind when they done it. They wanted to make sure that Canadians had money in their pockets and they were going to be able to survive. Now, as far as the PEI and the tourism side, I think I'm confident that at the end of the day, we're still going to be able to get people back to work, right? So as a seasonal province, we do have a lot of people on EI. They need enough hours for EI. So, I'm hoping we're going to be able to get to that point. The CERB's been great, like I say, for people that can't work and that needed a little time. The federal government done a remarkable job rolling that money out as quick as they have. From what I've been told, some people had money in their pockets in 72 hours. So when you think about it, the federal government was used to getting about 50,000 calls a day for the EI programs, and they went to 250,000 a day, and to roll out money as quick as they did. So I think, looking back, there might have been a few gaps in it as well, but at the same time, the main thing was to make sure people were going to survive, and that's what the program was for. So I think we just need to be creative. Like I say, it's still the unknown until we know how this is all going to look. We went from having a workforce and the economy booming like no other province to what it's going to look like after this is still up in the air. But I'm sure there's going to be some challenges, but I'm hoping we're going to be able to work through them.
Excellent. There's still some holes in the programs and supports implemented by both the federal and provincial governments for many tourism-based operators. They aren't seasonal, so they didn't meet the payroll expense requirements, and they aren't open yet, so they can't show a drop in income. Now they're unsure if they can hire staff for the season. Is there going to be any adjustments to the programs, or maybe a new one to help with the costs for these types of businesses? Yeah,
so I can kind of give you a rundown on that one as well. So like I say, daily especially this department, because this department's so big, I deal with about 4 different MPs. I fall under 4 different MPs on this one. So on the tourism side, I talk to Minister Jolie every Thursday. She's been great to deal with, and I've expressed islanders and tourism operators' concerns. This being one of them. So the tourism grants we rolled out are loans, I guess, loans and interest-free. Any tourism operator can access that. So as long as, and I know some of them are saying that, well, we can't show that we've had a loss. Well, if, for example, if there was a rental property and you're having cancellations and bookings, you can easily show that you've got a loss. So if some of them programs, if tourism operators are finding snags through them or problems with them, let me know, because we can change, right? We want to make sure that we can help out as many tourism operators as we can. The federal government, I'm really hoping they're going to step up on the tourism side. So we've done what we could on the provincial side of it, but right now we need the federal government to help on the tourism side, not only for Prince Edward Island, but all of the country. So over the last 4 weeks on the Thursday call with Minister Jolie, all provinces have been given an update on what it looks like. So I'm confident that the feds are going to come out with a tourism package. What it looks like, I don't know yet. I do know ACOA has been great to deal with us here as well. They've got an increased budget. So they're trying to fill as many gaps and holes as we can. But like I say, if somebody's running into a wall and feel there's no support, feel free to reach out and I'll do my best to navigate it.
Excellent. There are businesses that have animals as their cash earners. They've been closed down, but they still have to pay all their expenses for food and care. These would be petting farms, horseback facilities, etc. These businesses depend on the support from customers. What are your feelings towards these types of businesses regarding the upcoming tourism season? And do you think that these outside petting farms and facilities can be open? These businesses can't just put away the equipment like parking a car in the garage, as is usually done out of a love for the animals, and it's definitely not about making money. Most would not make enough money to access and repay a large loan. Is there any support or discussion of supports that would assist these people?
That's a good question. So there was one program we developed, and it was for anybody that fell through the cracks, whether it was business, nonprofits, or the private sector that could access money. So this could be one that could fall under that. It's probably the first question I've had like this, so I don't have the answer to it. But that program's run through Minister Meyer's department through transportation. It's on the COVID-19 business site as well. Feel free to send an application in. I know that program's still there. In the meantime, that would be something that I would think would be a good presentation for Dr. Morrison's shop, especially being outdoors. It could be something that she could look at opening up, depending on what it looked like. So I would certainly send something into the public health office on that one, and that might be something we could get open sooner than later.
Perfect. Still on the tourism side, the 75% wage subsidy program that the federal government has put in place is great, but for most tourism businesses, the program with an end date for June disqualifies them. Is there anything else coming down the pipes that tourism operators should be looking forward to as far as wage relief?
That question's probably been, it's been right up there with the top 3 questions we've been getting in. It's a great program, but for here, it doesn't fit as we're a seasonal province. So what we've done, we've gone back to the federal government on 3 occasions now and expressed our desire to change it to any 4 months. So that way, if a tourism operator wanted to use it July, August, September, October, that it will be there. I'm hoping to have an answer soon on that. We've been really pushing the federal government on this. They seem to be in favor, but there's no commitment yet. So I'm hoping maybe to know a little more on Thursday after the call with Mr. Jolie on that one.
Oh, that'd be great. I have one here. It says, I pay $2,397 a year for property taxes in Off-Islander, and I'd really like to be able to sit in my cottage. When will non-PEI summer homeowners be allowed to go to their cottages in PEI? I know this one is more of a sort of directed to the health department. It's not something that, in my mind, you would have control over in the tourism department.
No, that's right. So that would be a Dr. Morrison's department. I wish I had the answer in that one. You know, we would love to have all this behind us as well and get our summer residents back. You know, they're a big contributor to our local economy. So the answer is still the unknown. The restrictions now is what's really helping us move at a faster pace than most provinces. You look between PEI and New Brunswick. We've got the lowest cases in Atlantic Canada and throughout the country, other than maybe the Northwest Territories. So I'm hoping by doing what we're doing now is going to be able to speed things up in the future, but I don't have the answer when that date might be.
No, again, it'd be great to have a crystal ball, but
yeah,
none of us do. This was from a local momtrepreneur, she calls herself. I'm currently out $23,000 if the rental season doesn't go ahead, which I understand if it doesn't. But I currently do not qualify for any of the federal financial incentives because I have a full-time job. I'm the only employee, and I don't pay rent. I pay a mortgage. What the government doesn't know is I'm a single momtrepreneur paying $2,900 a month in mortgages without rental money coming in. Many small businesses are still falling through the cracks because the rules governing financing for a small business are just too tight. A small lump sum payment grant would be a great help. applying for a big loan opportunity is not possible for me, as I would not have potential to pay those back, as my business does not make a huge amount of money. Is there more financial help coming out for people like me in the cottage rental tourism business?
So on that one, that particular person could qualify for the interest relief through their own mortgage for 18 months. So reach out to Finance PEI and that you should be able to qualify for that. If you could work with your bank and possibly defer the payments as long as the banks are getting their interest, I'm hoping they're going to be able to work with their clients. On the other part of that, as far as I don't know what's coming yet. Like I say, the federal government still hasn't come out with any tourism announcement on that one. But I'm hoping, we're hopeful that something's coming. I don't have the answers to it yet. As far as the grant side of it goes, we really looked at doing something with a grant. We tried, but where it comes down to, we've got about 4,600 tourism operations. I think 2,600 tourism businesses and 1,900 accommodation rentals. The grant side of it was going to cost about $92 million in the numbers we run. And that wasn't taking a small business into a case. So when you take all that small business across PEI and the tourism sector as well, it was approximately $200 million that would go out the door. And as far as the province goes, we just couldn't afford it. I wish we could. It's just 200 million is not there right now.
This one again on sort of the rental side, on the like commercial. The commercial rent subsidy program has been a godsend for businesses in need. This program runs out in June. What help will be available for businesses with their rent concerns going forward?
That's another question that's come in quite a bit. So what we've done as well, along the same lines of the 75% wage subsidy, is work with the federal government and say, listen, we've got tourism operators and small business right now that are just getting open, that our season is going to be short. Can we get that drug out until September, October, possibly as well? So they've gone back to the drawing board to see if they can do something as far as the commercial rent side and that. So I'm hopeful. Like I say, I don't have an answer on that as of yet, but between the wage subsidy and the commercial subsidy, it's the two #1 issues we're getting right now. So we've been pushing the federal government hard, and I'm hoping to hear something back shortly on that one as well.
Great. I have a unique problem, and I own a cottage rental in PEI, but I live in a different Atlantic province. Would I qualify for any financial support from PEI? And if so, where can I find out about the financial support being offered in PEI to meet my situation?
That's a good question. So we looked at that. Once again, it come down to the numbers financially for the province. So we made it for island residents only. And the big thing is the cost of it, right? We know the importance of the tourism side and off-islanders and the money they bring to the economy, but we couldn't put our province in a financial strain because of it. Even with the programs we rolled out right now, we're in the vicinity of $103 million. So it's, there's, as much as we'd like to help as many people out as we can, we really got to watch our spending and make sure we get through this. We still have services we need to provide, and so at this point, no. But we did check into it, and there was just such a significant amount of off-island summer residents here that used as rentals. We just couldn't afford to pay for it at this point.
Yeah, that's the end of our list here, Matt. We've got it all the way to the bottom. I don't think we got one that we stumped you on. I'm going to hand it over to you. Do you want to? Have we brought up anything that you want to sort of say to bring forward and wrap up our conversation this morning?
Sure. So I guess once again, I just want to thank everybody for their patience. I know how stressful everybody is right now. Over the last 7 weeks, we've seen what's taken place, and I know there's a lot of strain on the business community on the tourism side. There's a lot of worry. I hear about it all the time. I wish I could fix everybody's problems and help out the best we can. And it's a challenge. We're trying our best through here, but as soon as I know more, I'll certainly be able to share it. Like I say, for any tourism operator, small business that think they can follow public rules and get back to work a bit and do their job a little different and open up, feel free to reach out and send a proposal into Public Health Office and Dr. Morrison. We're at a real good point here, and I think at the end of the day, we got to remember what this was all for. So all Islanders stepped up over the last 7 weeks, and put the health and safety first. And that's why we're in such a good shape as we are. And we're one of the few provinces that's getting back to a bit of a local economy here now. It's going to take some time, but I think we're going to get there, and I think we're going to be a lot stronger for it. You know, one thing that has saved us, we haven't had any community spread. And you look at the cases through the country and through the world, the whole world is going through this right now. It's a complete economic shutdown. So by doing what we've done has really gave us a chance to get through this before most provinces. So once again, thanks everybody for your patience. Anything that pops up, feel free to reach out through your chambers and any questions, and I'll do my best to get them answered. And like I say, on the business side, make sure you follow up with Dr. Morrison's shop, and they've been doing great. There's been a good turnaround of 24, 48 hours of getting some responses out. So hopefully we'll be able to get back to normal soon.
That would be great. Matt, I want to thank you this morning for getting together with us and having this discussion. It's been a great opportunity to answer some of the questions that that members and business people have had. I look forward to seeing what rolls out in the next short term, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for maybe a late season tourism business.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope so.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Matt, and best of luck to you. Keep on working hard.
Thanks, John. Take care, everyone.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye.